You keep waiting for life to get easier. You keep waiting for the pressure to fade, for the weight to lift, for the storm to calm down long enough for you to breathe. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Life is not going to get easier. Life is not designed to get easier. And the longer you wait for the world to lighten up, the weaker you become. Because every day you spend hoping life will bend for you is another day you avoid becoming the kind of person who can bend reality. You don't grow because the obstacles disappear. You grow because you rise to meet them. You grow because you refuse to break under pressure. You grow because pain demands strength, and strength demands repetition. You keep saying, maybe next year things will finally calm down. No, next year will bring its own storms, its own battles, its own nights where you feel like collapsing. But you know what changes? You stop being the person who panics. You stop being the person who hides. You stop being the person who crumbles at the first sign of stress. You become someone else entirely. Someone unrecognizable to the version of you who used to run from difficulty. Because pressure doesn't destroy you. Pressure reveals you. It exposes the strength you didn't know was there. It exposes the resilience you forgot you had. It exposes the warrior you lost under years of comfort and doubt. Every challenge is a mirror reflecting your potential. Every setback is a teacher sharpening your instincts. Every moment of pain is an invitation to level up, but most people never learn this. They think they should grow without struggle, win without loss, succeed without sacrifice. And so the moment life gets heavy, they fold, they retreat, they break, not because the challenge was impossible, but because they were still expecting life to be easy. You want to know why some people get ahead? Why some people evolve so fast it seems unfair? Why their lives transform while others stay stuck? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not opportunity. It's because they stopped asking for life to get easier and started demanding that they get stronger. They embraced the difficulty. They walked into the fire instead of running from it. They understood that greatness is built in storms, not sunshine. Growth is forged in pressure, not comfort. And pain is a sculptor that chisels your character into something unbreakable. So no, life won't hand you easier days. Life won't suddenly soften its blows. Life won't step aside just because you're tired. But life will step aside for the person who keeps walking anyway. This is a part nobody explains to you. You don't become unstoppable because you avoid the battles. You become unstoppable because you survive them, because you adapt, because you improve, because you refuse to let the same obstacles defeat you twice. And somewhere along the way, after enough heartbreak, after enough failures, after enough nights wondering whether you should give up, you begin to notice the shift. The things that once broke you don't break you anymore. The challenges that once crushed you don't even shake you. The storms that once terrified you now make you smirk because you know exactly who you're becoming. Not a victim, not a survivor, but a force, a threat, a level of strength that only comes from refusing to quit. When everything in your life tried to convince you to, and when that moment comes, when you finally understand that nothing gets easier, but you get better, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop begging. You stop hoping the world will let up. And you start building the version of you who can handle anything. At some point, you have to understand a simple truth. Life is not attacking you. It is training you. Every setback, every betrayal, every moment of exhaustion, it's all part of the process that shapes you into someone capable of carrying the life you say you want. But most people never realize this. They think discomfort is punishment. They think rejection means they're not good enough. They think pressure is a sign that they're on the wrong path. No, pressure is confirmation. Pressure is proof that you are being stretched into a stronger version of yourself. Pressure is the weight required to build the mental muscle you've been avoiding. You cannot grow without resistance. You cannot evolve without friction. You cannot level up without sacrifice. Growth is not a smooth climb. It's a violent tearing apart of your old identity so that your new one can take form. And yes, it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. Transformation is not comfortable. Becoming better is not gentle. Strength is not built in silence but in struggle. But here's where most people fail. They want to evolve without ever being broken. They want to become powerful without facing anything that scares them. They want a champion's mindset without going through the battles that create one. Life will never give you a reward you haven't earned internally. It will not hand greatness to someone who avoids difficulty. It will not elevate someone who refuses to rise inside themselves. If you want to handle more, you must become more. If you want life to stop crushing you, you must stop being crushable. If you want to stop being overwhelmed, you must build a mind that cannot be overwhelmed. This is where your evolution begins. The moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this shaping inside me? Because the truth is simple. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Prepared for a future so big, Your current level of strength would collapse under its weight. Life is not delaying your breakthrough. Life is developing the person who can sustain it. And when you start seeing struggle that way, you stop resisting it. You stop running from the hard things. You stop hoping the path clears up and start clearing the path yourself. You stop fighting the process and start absorbing everything it's trying to teach you. See, iron doesn't become a sword by resting. It becomes a sword by surviving the fire. Gold doesn't shine because it's lucky. It shines because it endured the heat that melted everything weak inside it. You're the same. You don't get better by escaping the pressure. You get better by enduring it until the parts of you that were fragile finally break away and the parts of you that were strong take over. Think about the version of yourself you're trying to become. Disciplined, focused, unshakable, relentless, a warrior in the mind long before a warrior in the world. That version of you doesn't come from comfort. It comes from repetition. Doing the hard things even when you don't feel like it. Showing up when you're exhausted. Pushing when you're discouraged. Working when nobody sees you. Training when nobody claps for you. Fighting when nobody understands you. The people you admire, the ones you call strong or unstoppable, aren't superhuman. They're just people who stayed in the fight longer than everyone else. They didn't choose the easy days. They chose discipline. They chose sacrifice. They chose consistency. And those choices build a mind that doesn't collapse when life gets heavy. You want to know the real difference between someone who quits and someone who becomes unstoppable? One waits for conditions to improve. The other improves themselves regardless of conditions. One hopes the challenge disappears. The other becomes stronger than the challenge. One complains about the weight. The other uses the weight to grow. That's why nothing gets easier. Your life isn't supposed to soften for you, but you are supposed to harden for life. And when you embrace that reality, when you stop expecting the world to adapt and decide to adapt yourself, everything changes. You stop breaking at every inconvenience. You stop doubting yourself at every mistake. You stop quitting every time the path gets heavy. Because deep inside you, a new voice begins to form. A voice that says, I've survived worse than this. I'm stronger than this. I'm built for this. I don't need easy, I need purpose. That is the voice of someone becoming dangerous. That is the voice of someone leveling up. That is the voice of someone no longer afraid of the weight. Because they finally understand. The weight is what's making you better. At some point, you will understand the truth most people spend their entire lives running from. Life is never going to lighten the load for you. You must become strong enough to carry it. People waste years hoping things magically get easier, hoping problems disappear, hoping discipline arrives by accident, hoping fear fades without being confronted, hoping success shows up without any scars attached. But that's not how life works. Life is not a gentle game. Life is a battlefield that rewards the ones willing to train. So hear me clearly. You don't rise because the world becomes soft. You rise because you become sharp. Nothing gets easier. Your mind just stops breaking where it used to. Your heart stops collapsing under pressure that once destroyed you. Your spirit stops shaking in situations that used to terrify you. And suddenly, what once looked impossible is now simply another step in your story. People will look at you and say, you've changed. You're cold now. You're too focused. You don't act like you used to. Good. You weren't supposed to stay the same. You were meant to stay soft, fragile, dependent on approval, or limited by the environment that tried to shrink you. You were meant to evolve. And evolution requires shedding entire versions of yourself. That cannot survive the level you're stepping into. You outgrow people. You outgrow habits. You outgrow excuses. You outgrow the weaker version of you. That wanted comfort more than growth. And that is exactly why life keeps applying pressure. Because pressure forces you to decide. Will you stay the same? Or will you become what you were designed to be? See, there's a version of you that doesn't flinch at struggle. A version of you that doesn't collapse under criticism. A version of you that doesn't back down just because something hurts. A version of you that sees rejection as redirection, pain as fuel, and pressure as preparation. But you cannot meet that version by asking for an easier life. You meet that version by stepping directly into the fire and refusing to leave until you have leveled up. Maybe you don't see it yet, but every storm you survived created a stronger part of you. Every person who doubted you sharpened your vision. Every disappointment strengthened your resilience. Every failure built your character. Every painful chapter trained your endurance. Life is not breaking you. Life is building you. And you must stop looking at your struggles as proof that you are not enough. They are proof that you are becoming more than enough. So many people stay trapped because they believe their circumstances dictate their destiny. But your circumstances don't define you. Your response does. Most people wait for motivation. Most people wait for the perfect moment. Most people wait for someone to save them, or validate them, or push them, or give them permission. But the ones who change their lives are the ones who decide, right now, that waiting is over. They don't need a perfect plan. They don't need everything to make sense. They don't need applause or support or guarantees. They just start, and they keep going. That is what makes them unstoppable. Not talent, not luck, not a perfect background. It's consistency in the face of difficulty, and effort in the absence of motivation. It's doing what must be done, even when you are tired, even when you are discouraged, even when nobody believes in you, even when you doubt yourself. Because deep inside, greatness doesn't come from comfort. Greatness comes from pushing past it. So ask yourself, are you becoming harder to break? Are you becoming more disciplined? Are you becoming more focused? Are you becoming someone who refuses to fold? Because if not, you're not stuck. You're avoiding the work that would set you free. The secret is simple. Life doesn't get easier so that you can grow. It gets harder so that you must grow. And once you accept that, once you stop waiting for relief and start building resilience, everything shifts. Suddenly challenges are not threats. They're opportunities. Obstacles are not dead ends. They're training grounds. Fear is not a sign to stop. It's a signal that your next level is near. Pressure is not punishment. It's preparation. Pain is not pointless. It's refining you. And the world no longer intimidates you because you finally understand you were always capable. You just weren't tested yet. So let this be your reminder. Nothing gets easier. Nothing magically changes. Nothing softens for you. You change. You sharpen. You strengthen. You rise. And the moment you commit to that truth, you become unstoppable.